I know, so amazing, right? And then what we can do is actually add a cylinder on top of that. And just call it vine. Now, obviously, we're going to need to change some things here. Okay? We're going to need to come in here and do a very simple, like, 0.1 and 0.1. And we are going to move this out. Okay? And then we're going to tilt it. Let's say 25 degrees. 25 degrees is good. And then we will actually come in here and do a 2. Okay? And this is going to come in just a little bit more. And we're going to color this green. So that way it looks like it's kind of, I don't know. It may not look like that very well, but that's how it's going to be. So we're going to come in here and just pop it in. And then we're going to grab was it minus 25? We're going to come in and change this. We're going to duplicate it. And instead of minus 25, we're just going to go 25. And what was the other thing there? Let's go ahead and just even these up. And minus 34. So now we have the other one, minus 34. And this one will be 35, so this one will be minus 35. Pretty simple. Now that we have those, we can go ahead and grab both of these vines, duplicate. Oh, vine 2. Then we can come over and rotate them 90 degrees. And like I said, it doesn't have to be anywhere near like amazing at all. All we need to do is simply go into, what is it, 0? Move it over, and then we're going to rotate 90 degrees. So we just need to have something there that, you know, really just makes sense, you know, of like, oh, that's this effect, something that you can just tell. And so this may not be the best way to do it, but it's something that is placeholder. It doesn't have to be fancy art. You don't have to go into Blender and make a whole bunch of vines and everything else. That can come later. So we're going to come in here and just do vines. So all of this is right there. Now the big question is, will this spawn at that location? So what we need to do is essentially start looking at how the hell we're gonna, you know, make this thing. So I'm gonna delete our sphere, delete our cylinder, and it might look like a little weird campfire kind of a thing, but you know, it's there. So we're gonna go ahead and save it, compile, and so now we have to think about, this thing has to fire off like instantly, which means that it needs to be on a character. If it doesn't, then there's a problem. So now we just got to kind of, you know, think about those things. So what we can do right off the bat is go ahead and actually put a collision in there. So we're going to start with a sphere collision. Now that is not nearly big enough. We're going to go ahead and put it out to about here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and move our vines up so that way they kind of sit on 0, 0. Because I'm not sure if this currently does. So let's actually go and bring this back down. And let's see where, there it is. So we're going to bring it back up a little bit more. Right there. And just keep stretching it out. I think that'll work. So with this, we're going to go ahead and do it to 64. Okay. 64. Now let's be on the safe side. Let's make sure that this cannot be stepped on, doesn't generate overlap events, and it doesn't block anything. Remember, this is just the effect. So we're going to set our collision to no collision. Okay. So now, double check our sphere and overlap all dynamic. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and hit save. Now in here, we're going to go ahead and grab our sphere and say begin overlap. And then do it again and say end overlap. Although technically, it doesn't need an end. Now let's put an end just in case it times out and everything. But it shouldn't, because once it grabs someone, it grabs and you're done. So we have something very similar to this kind of effect. The only difference is it's not going to root anybody. So what we're going to do is actually come back over into our new beginning ability. Because I'm a firm believer, if you don't have to, reinvent the wheel, you don't need to. Okay? So we're going to copy over a bunch of this. And at this point, we just come in here and say actor is this. Come into, and we're going to cast to our parent blueprint. Okay? And just check the assigned team. Now, we want to make sure that it doesn't trigger on our team. So let's go ahead and delete the equals. And we're going to do a not equal. It does not equal our team. Okay? So now that we know that it doesn't equal our team, at that point, what we need to do is do two things. We need to essentially turn off the sphere collision and just say, hey, we're done. We're good. We don't need anything else. We're good. So we're going to go ahead and grab a variable for it. And then we're going to actually change our collision. Let's see how we can do that. Let's see. What is it actually called? Called collision preset. Okay. So if you just do preset, nope, that doesn't work. Not off. The off just wants to do offset. That doesn't work. And we only wanted to be able to fire this once. So what we probably end up doing is just do a very quick do once. Ooh, not a multi-input, a normal input. Do once. Okay, so now that we do this, we can come over here. We're going to need a copy of this guy right here. And we're going to go ahead and say apply crowd control effect. Now, let's go back over to our state machine, or state manager, and look at our crowd control effects right there. So number 2 is our root. Okay? No problem. So if we come over and we say number 2, duration 5 seconds. Okay. Then we can come over and then do a delay. And we're going to go ahead and, because it's 5 seconds, we're going to go 5.1. Just that way it has a little bit of extra time, a little bit extra buffer right there. And at that point, we will go ahead and destroy this actor. That's pretty much it. Now we just got to see if it actually works. So let's go ahead and grab our... let's go and grab our character master, who is right here. And let's get our team. Our team is... his team is currently assigned to red. Let's assign him to blue. Okay. So... oh. One last thing. Is... we need to see if it actually works on him and like actually like attaches to him. So what we could do is try this out and see. I'm not seeing anything up here. So that, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It can mean that it is underneath things. But let's go ahead and just double check Wild Roots. Yep, Wild Roots is right there. It's saved. Wild Roots is right here. Our viewport right there. Okay. Interesting. So I wonder if, oh, I forgot to set the spawn type. We're gonna use mouse position. Okay. So now let's come back over and try it again. So if I come over and say, bam, right there. It goes away. Okay. We come back over here. Okay. So it's still there. No problem. And it's not detecting us. But we need to go in and make sure that we can control some of these things. So first and foremost, we're going to come in and spawn our Wild Roots. Now we're going to come over to our Tanny character, and we're actually going to change our assigned team to blue. So this should affect us. And it doesn't. It's not affecting us. So it's right there. But it is like, I'm going to put one over here. And then I'll put another one right there. Both of these have been spawned. They don't have a lifespan already preset on them. So because they don't have a lifespan preset, I'm going to come over here. This should be stopping me, but it's not. If I come back over and set my character back to red and come over it, is it still detecting it? Nope, it's still over there. It's not touching it. So there is obviously a major issue with our state machine. Because now we're not getting movement speed up. Now we're not getting a route. And route is really simple. I don't understand what the problem is. So if we come back over to here into our... let's go ahead and do another, print string over here. And just see, is this actually popping? Okay. So we're going to come back over again and hit this. And we're going to go ahead and spawn another route. Select our Tanny character. Set her to blue. Okay, so this should, pop it. It's not popping anything. It's not even sending the signal. Well, that's not good. Is vulnerable, should set to 0. It's not. Good. Let's look at our crowd controls. Root. Is rooted? No. Is root immune? No. Okay. Let's try this one more time. I'm going to come over here, because we have it casted to it. So we're going to go ahead and do a print over here. Print string. While the root equals friendly, not rooting. Okay. We're going to come back over, set another one, and say enemy. Okay. So we're going to come back over here and just make sure that that is actually working correctly. All right, let's just see. Oh, that popped in a new window. Let's bring it back over so we can debug it. So we got multiples being laid out. And let's go ahead and pick our character again. Let's change her team to blue. Okay, so now let's rock over. Enemy. It is registering me as an enemy. Go ahead and put her back to red. And now it's not even triggering at all. But if I go back to blue, wild root enemy, wild root enemy, wild root enemy, wild root enemy, wild root enemy. So they are registering, but for whatever reason, the state manager is just not registering at all. That's not a good sign. So obviously we have some major issues with our state manager, and I don't entirely know what the hell is happening. Let me double check something really fast. So I don't have that in there, but this works. Healing damage. Okay, so those work. Let's look at new beginnings. Message. API interface. Okay, wild roots. API interface. Hang on. Get state manager. I'm curious now. Like, this is borderline BS, and this is starting to become a big problem. So let's come back in here. We tried a new way of targeting. So root, 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 root. Okay. Select our character, change it to blue. Come back over. Hey, look, I'm rooted. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and we have now confirmed that works. So that means that the way that we were trying to call it before, like, this works for healing and damage, but the way that we were trying to call it for crowd control effects, that's different. You have to call the state manager for the message. Gotcha. No problem. So this is now working. Okay. However, what we need to do is actually set actor transform. We're going to go ahead and break this transform. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get actor, what was it? Location. And we are going to split this out. Split this. And we're just going to move it to us. So that way they are directly over the root. Okay. Now, if this should work, let's go back to Fey Illusion real fast. Fey Illusion. And again, we were trying to basically set our own movement buff. So not a problem. Let's go ahead and just get State Manager. And then we're going to go ahead and do apply buff. So now that we know this is how we have to do this, move this over. And we were going to register that, what was it, number 4. Okay, so 4. This is going to be 25% for 5 seconds. Okay, now we're going to hit play. We're going to go ahead and do it very quick. You know, here's the illusion, and it definitely works now. Which is awesome. Now we're going to come back down here, and we're going to go ahead and pop down a few of our roots. Now, again, this should make our character just snap straight over. Okay? Oh, it did, but it messed with other things. Now we're in the floor. That's a problem. So let's go ahead back over to our wild roots. Okay? And we can't zero them out. That'd be very bad. So instead what we're going to do is get actor. Get actor location. And then we're going to split that, and we're going to go Z factor. So that way they don't go further up or down. Okay? So we're going to come in here. Play again. Root. Select our character, change teams. Come on over. And now we are stuck. Can still attack, can still do everything. I can't move anymore. Okay, whoa. Ooh. That messed with some things. Okay. So that's definitely a bug. So we're going to have to deal with that one real quick. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So let's come over here. And we're going to do a quick boolean, or a quick check on this. Okay. We're going to come over and say, is root immune? Not set is root immune. Is root immune. Get is root immune. And if they are not, then it's false. Go ahead, grab them, pull them in, lock them down. If they are root immune, reset. So that way they can continue to grab and root and be good to go. Okay. So now we're doing really good with it. Awesome. So now that is technically 4 abilities. Done. All right, let's double check real quick what the last ability is. Her ultimate. Because I don't remember. Bright screen. Oh. This one is going to be interesting. I don't know how to make this one. Not off the top of my head. I kind of do, but... yeah. This ultimate is one of those where it's like, oh, it sounded great at the time, but it's kind of complicated. So instead what we're going to do is we're actually going to skip her ultimate just for the time being. Only for the time being. Okay, I'll do it, I promise. However, and I'll even tell you exactly what the ability is. Because I know a lot of people have been waiting for this character to be done and there and move on. So, this fairy's ultimate ability. Let me actually go ahead and move all this over here. Her ultimate ability is a aura that basically just, comes out and sticks to her. Now that's simple enough. You just spawn the actor, attach the actor to the character, done. You have the aura just being a sphere collision around it, and if you're friendly, great. You're added into an array of characters for it to work with. That part is the easiest. This is where things start to get a little trickier. In that aura, it pulses rapidly, increasing your health and and all friendlies around you's health, like healing, and restoring MP to yourself and everyone around you. However, at the same time, you are restoring health and MP to your, to everyone around you. You are also taking increasing damage. Okay? It is called Fey Sacrifice. If the character should die during this ability, during her ultimate, okay, she becomes a seed that has then on the ground. Now, that seed does have health. It can be destroyed. But if you die, your character dies and becomes a seed. If that seed survives for X amount of seconds, the character is then reborn, quote unquote. Basically respawned right there at the site of the seed. The seed blossoms, and you are reborn with 25% HP, 25% MP. Again, this is multiple layers of different effects. So you have a bunch of different things that you need to do. Okay? Again, setting up the aura, setting up the actor with collision and getting all the people in and adding it to an array. It makes sense. That's easy. No problem. Pulsing out a heal. Pulsing out MP. Okay, not terrible. The character's new beginnings ability, the flower, that pulses out a heal. I know how to do that, no problem. MP, we don't have a function for that yet. So we need to create a function for that. That goes into the character framework, something to update and add. Then you have to be able to do damage to ourselves. Now, while this may not seem like that big of a deal, you can do damage to enemies all the time. What's the problem? The big problem with that is if you actually look into our into our damaging abilities, it doesn't have a whole lot of logic there, other than you either health reaches 0 or you're still alive. There's not even a death logic in there, because right now characters can't really die and respawn. So that means that we need to go through and create specific logic for dealing damage to ourselves, but also making sure that when we do that, that we don't open it up for all abilities to be able to damage ourselves. We're currently doing that just by doing a quick filter of, hey, what team are you on? If you're on my team, you're not doing damage to me, and just keep on going. And that can technically work. But we are going to have a death logic whenever you reach 0 health. This would technically override that logic, and it has to be overridden. Otherwise, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to die, respawn timer is going to start, and then you will be respawned immediately after the respawner back at base. So this is one of those times when the framework is out there, but it's not in here. It is not here. So we're going to have conflicting, framework logic, essentially. So I don't think I'm going to be able to actually do that one tonight. I need to actually think about that one, plan that one out, because the respawn logic and the death logic has to go through the game mode. If it doesn't go through the game mode, then it won't register when you play versus bots. We won't register for respawning, won't register for even online matches, and making sure that everything is kept on the up and up. And I don't know how to do that one quite yet. I haven't mapped that one out yet. So for the time being, as much as I hate it to be one ability away, I think we're going to have to just put Tanny to bed and just say, hey, sorry, darling. We know you're not complete, but we'll see. We will get you there at some point. We promise. Just not today. That's kind of depressing when you think about it like that. But we're doing good. Let's see. Let's go and move this up a little bit. We definitely will need to reorganize some of our blueprints. But yeah, for the most part, we're 4 out of 5. Like, Tanny is 4 out of 5. She is like, I don't know, 90% done, 85% done, really. Everything else can realistically be done. But that last piece of logic just kind of goes meh. So we can either not do the entire last half. We can choose not to deal damage to ourselves. But then that makes it kind of all benefit, no risk. So I don't know. Yeah, I am going to take a quick break, much faster break this time than the one before. Um, I will be right back, and we will continue on some way, somehow. Haven't quite figured that part out yet, and I don't know what's coming up next, but I guess we'll figure it out in just a few minutes. And we are back. And look at the clock. We're actually coming up on the end of tonight's stream. I know. But we've made really good progress. So right now, we have our first character pretty much, I'd say about 80% done. Okay? Let's just call her 80% done. She works, she can heal, she can do damage. You know, 4 of her abilities do work. Her 5th one, her ultimate, not quite there yet. We need to rethink some framework to allow for it to happen, especially because this may not be the only character that actually has a post-death or a quote-unquote pre-death system or functionality. So because of that, we need to completely rethink, how are we doing this? How are we going through everything? How are we going to make all of this really work? And that's important. We need to make sure that we are doing this correctly and set this up so that way not just this character can take advantage of it, but other characters can take advantage of it too later on down the road. So that's issue number 1. Okay. Issue number 2 that we have is making sure that we are doing things in the best humanly way possible to make our lives easier. This cannot be a simple one-off that has its own separate thing off to the side that we call this one thing only for this character. It needs to be a part of the framework and has to be an availability for when other characters could use this. And I think I just kind of gave some clues. Yeah, I just gave some clues as to some of the characters. But I'll just go ahead and embrace it. When another character uses it, then, you know, it needs to be a thing. Something has to happen. An action has to happen. And so, if that doesn't work smoothly, if that doesn't work without issue, we will have bigger problems. So we are actually going to hold off for now. Okay? Our little Fae support healer is done for now. Okay? We will continue and we will come back and revisit her. But for this time being, right now, she's done. Okay? After I map some things out, after I go through some things, figure out how to make it work correctly, we will revisit this character. We will make her ultimate come to life and ultimately finish her up completely, which is awesome. I mean, the other part of it that I'm thinking about is also the fact that this ability also has to be able to be used by bots. So, like I said, it has to be easily understood, easily worked, easily implemented. So, for now, she's done. We will definitely revisit our beautiful little Tanny the Fae a little bit later. That's another thing, that's another bug I need to sort out, is that if you stop moving mid-jump, you just straight fall down. And that's mostly because I have completely just removed the acceleration side of things and the braking side of things. And that's so that way, whenever you move, you literally just, you don't have a ramp up speed for the character. That part was intentional. The fact that you jump, and if you stop moving while jumping, then you just fall. That part's unintentional. So, we'll definitely go through that. But, on top of that, we still have a long ways to go. Going in and pulling up our beautiful little Trello board because, again, we have so many things that need to be sorted out. Let's go ahead and move some of these things to the side. Where is it? Okay. Archive all this. And let's bring this over real fast. And let's take a look at where we are, what still needs to be done, and what's coming up next. Okay. So, first and foremost, ability 3 is done. We already moved her over with that. Okay, so we have all of this left, just for alpha purposes. So pretty much all of the UI, and that's a hell of a lot of UI. In terms of characters, so without going into detail as to what these characters do, you know about character 3 and 5. So we can go ahead and actually put them, or rather, actually, I think these are old now. Yeah, these are actually kind of old. These aren't the correct archetypes and in faction form. I need to update that. But what we can do is we can actually move our character, ability that's over here and put it on to the on hold area. And we can bring over basic attack, ability 1, ability 2, ability 3, and we will do ability 4. Oh, no, these are for character 2. We can't do those on stream. Those are going to be a surprise. So instead, yeah. I mean, we definitely got a lot going on in here. What we probably will end up doing is working on the user interface a little bit. Just so that way we have a little bit easier time going into it. And we will probably look at some of that framework on the other side. More specifically, the game mode, so that way we can handle death and respawning as we need to do it. And then once we have that, go back into our ability for our ultimate for the first character and get that sorted out the correct way. I don't want to put that off for too long. So we're making really damn good progress, though. Really, really damn good progress. So, with that being said, we're going to make sure that we come in here, save all. And as we come to the end, as I say it every single time, and as much as it might annoy you, I don't care. Just remember my 3 things. Okay? You are loved. You are wanted. You are worth it. Thank you so much again for joining me on this amazing journey. Thank you so much again for just being a part of everything. I truly do appreciate this. Thank you so much for joining the Discord. Again, please feel free to share on the Discord. Let me know what the Discord needs. Let me know what improvements you want to see on it. It's still infancy. Like, today is day 1 of the server, so let me know if there's any problems with it. And with that being said, thank you again. Y'all are so amazing. And until next time, take care of yourself, take care of others, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
was the strongest enemy I've faced on here yet. Tina's Orin!